Hey everybody, welcome to Garrett's Games. We are a podcast and a video series about board games. We talk about board games on our podcast every Sunday, and we drop a video now that we've started doing these on Tuesdays about a particular board game that may have been covered in the podcast as well. This week we have Perch. This is from Inside Up Games by an amazingly named guy, Doug Hettrick.
Nice name.
My name is Doug.
I'm Shelley.
And we are here to talk about Perch. This is for 2 to 5 players, ages 14 plus, and plays in about 45 to 60 minutes. But before we do, remember to hit subscribe and, of course, the thumbs up. Feedback is good, guys. We love hearing from you, and we love knowing that we've got people out there watching and checking out and want to check out these games that we love.
Yeah.
So make sure you do that, and you can support the podcast by going down to the show notes and checking out the extensive list of games that no longer fit on our shelves but belong on your table. All right, without further ado, it's time to Perch. So Perch is an area majority game where you are in birds of different colors and you are trying to send your birds out over the course of 5 rounds to make sure that you score the most points and end up with the best spots out here in the area. We've got a random board that gets set up. We put out a certain number of creatures. We put out a certain number of basic tiles, and those are the ones that have the wonderful little nests on them. And we put out a couple of special tiles as well. In a 4-player game, this territory would be expanded by 1 column of 2. In a 5-player game, there would be another column of 3 more tiles. So you can expand and contract depending upon the number of players. To start up a round, you've got your little bag here, and into that bag, you are going to place 2 of each of the players' colors. And in a 2-player game, you're going to use another color. In the first round, you're going to put 4 of that other player, the bird brain, as they call them, 4 in. And then from then on, it's going to be 2, 2, and 2 always. We're going to shake these up, and everybody's going to draw 2 out of the bag. So this is what I got. And then Shelley's going to draw hers.
And I got a blue and the dummy player too.
Exactly.
Bird brain
we
player.
Then get 2 more in our color. So I get 2 more reds and Shelley gets 2 more blues. And now we're ready to start the round. I should have said that we do get objective cards at the beginning before we start and before we do any of that. You get 2 of those, and these are endgame scoring cards. You get to choose one of them as a goal for the end of the game. You are going to go back and forth, placing out our birds anywhere that we want in the on the various tiles here, okay? And, of course, it's an area majority game. Kind of like Bauer that we talked about last week in a video, and we talked about both of these 2 bird games in a podcast. So if I'm the start player, I can choose anywhere that I want to go. So you might want, as you're looking around, you're saying, well, what are these nests? So Shelley, what are the nests all about?
The nests indicate that this is an area where you come that's strictly for points. There's not going to be any powers associated with them. But if you're the first, you have the most, you're going to get 5 points. If you have in this example, or if you have the second most, you're going to get no points. And then third place gets 2 points. So you're definitely looking at points. These are the ones that tend to have more of the points on them.
Yes.
There are also special ones.
Well, now notice this basic.
Yeah.
Being in second place gets you 7 points and only 4 points for first place. So you're
you're really looking at trying to get to the right amount, right?
Yes,
and then there's what's interesting in terms of majority is the player that goes in first is going to stand on the nest.
Usually.
I would think so.
Well, yeah. I mean, though, for example, if I'm trying to get in the Japanese maple, I may want to place the dummy player out there because the nests count as a second bird when you're counting majority. So the green player now has 2. Shelley's going to do that.
And then he might come in there with 1 and we would be tied.
Ties
Nobody gets anything.
Right?
So that's
that's
painful.
another thing that you are looking at as you are doing that. Now, there are specials, as Shelley's talking about.
So there are also special animals.
Well, they're animals,
right?
yeah,
They're
creatures.
special animals, and they have different rules depending on the animal. And you can see that they tend to give you little to no points when you go on them because they have powers that you use the next round in the game. So, for example, this fox, if I got control over it, having the most, I would be able to do, and there's these nice little cheat sheets because every animal does something different. This one is I can move I move 2 spots, and wherever I go, those 2 spots they're orthogonally adjacent. Maybe I go that way. I get to remove
a bird.
And place them. Is it in the fountain?
In the fountain, yes. Exactly.
In the fountain. And that's an area over on this board here. And if you remove a bird to put it in the fountain on the first row, or well, in this case, because it depends on the player count.
2 to 3 players.
Yeah, on the 2 to 3 player side, you would only get 1 point. But it is points. Maybe I would choose to do that later. Maybe I might even remove my own stuff.
Exactly.
Or I might remove my opponent's, or I might even do the dummy player too,
right.
Oftentimes.
If I'm in control of it and I'm in second place, I might want to remove, just get rid of, because maybe I can't compete for this one where you get no points in second place.
No,
so that I'm going to get at least some points over here by placing them over.
And
in
you
the
could
fountain.
get up to 6 points at the top.
Yeah, at
so
the top. Exactly.
this depending on the animals, often will get full or maybe won't, depending on the different types of animals that are in the game.
The squirrel here, and I love these little standees, by the way.
Yeah, it's
the
cute.
Squirrel is going to be moving anywhere 1 step away from the bench, and you get to swap a bird from the location where the squirrel stops with a bird in the fountain. So you might want to get your bird here so that you can then swap him out. That's kind of a fun one. And the cuckoo over here, you're going to move to any adjacent location and then swap a bird from the location where the cuckoo bird stops with a bird from any other location. So if I moved over here and this guy was here and that was, I'm over here getting no points because, Shelley's already built up her stuff.
So I have an influence of 2 because of the...
So I could come over here and say, you know what? I'm going to just get out of there and get into this spot so that I can, benefit this. There are 2 specials in a 2-player game. There are 2 of the special tiles. And this says when you're recruiting, and recruiting, I should say, is when you are drawing the birds from the bag. This is the person who recruits birds. The controlling player recruits birds first, drawing 3 from the bag and keeping 2, returning the extra. So you get a little bit of choice instead of the randomness that happens with the bag.
And so obviously, when you have control over your pieces, you're happy. But you're always going to have control of your opponent's pieces and different players' pieces in a multiple player, or the dummy, the bird brain one too.
Exactly.
So
you are
that's
also
powerful.
creating stacks of your birds. So this is really cool that they've thought this out. All birds of the same color stack on each tile. So right here, for example, Shelley's going to have 1, 2, and the nest counts as 3 for majority in this.
So this is 3 to 1 right now.
Exactly. Whereas if I, came in, I might, if I had been able to sneak this in, now I'm getting 2 because I'm in 3rd place there. And so you want to be paying attention to that.
And then I might choose maybe to do if I had a power, I might choose to push you off and push you into the fountain. But then if I did that and you were getting 2 points, but I moved you and you got 3, that wouldn't be so smart.
That wouldn't be the best thing.
So, you don't have to use the animals.
Right.
We will say sometimes we would get them and not use them, but usually,
these animals, the creatures.
But you're definitely always putting a bird on. And deciding where you want to do that is pretty powerful.
The animals are only used once per round. So when you've used it for the round, you flip it over. And of course, these go back and forth. I mean, you're definitely fighting for majority in the animals. As you can see with the fox, that's pretty powerful when you get to knock off 2 birds from the area or from 2 different areas and send them to the fountain. When you get to round 4, everybody gets one of these little houses or birdhouse tops. And this allows you to place either on your own or somebody else's. This, just like the nest, counts now as an extra bird. So Shelley would have 4 here, but she can now A, no longer place a bird there, and B, no longer have something taken from there for the fountain. So that works as a nice block. And, you can do any one of these things, animals or placing these things out as an action, one time. And you have, of course, 4 actions, 4 birds each round. And when you get to round 5, you get these little lightning zappers. And this is just, Shelley might be really mean, for example. She's really mean, by the way.
You're crazy.
Is you use that zapper and oh no, Shelley is sending this over here to there, so now we're tied, and now I don't get those 2 points because this zaps something to the fountain.
However, though, this probably was going to be more full, so I wouldn't probably zap you if you're going to get 4 points.
That's true.
I might choose not to use one of these powers, or I might have, if I've been playing maybe where I've been focusing on animals and haven't used my roof or my zapper.
Right.
Since I can only do one of these special actions per turn,
True.
You might not be able to use all of them.
That's true.
And that's also interesting.
Yeah. You score at the end of every round. So the majority that you have at the end of every round, you do score this. So Shelley would, if she were able to maintain this for all 5 rounds, she's going to get 25 points, 5 points each round.
Yeah, that's huge.
If you maintain that. That's pretty big. So you want to make sure that you're taking a look and trying to get those points during the game, as well as, of course, control those animals and possibly benefit from those special tiles. This is a really interesting game.
Yeah.
Again, Perch. So what did you think of Perch from Inside Up Games?
Well, I love it.
Shelley never says that. Shelley never.
I do love it,
I
though.
say this, and then she's like, well, I love it.
I do. I always seem to love it. Well, we're making videos of the ones that we do really like,
true.
actually. Why would we make a video of one that...
I don't know. Maybe we should.
I don't know.
We'll think
maybe.
About doing that.
But
Tell us if you want us to do ones on like games you hate.
But video, I don't know. That's different. But what I think is so interesting is that we also have your objective.
Yes.
And so that could be determining a lot of what you're trying to do here, because maybe you need to control animals.
Right. So this is, some of them are interesting. So this is worth 6 points, for example.
Yeah.
And it says, have the most birds on 3 or more locations in a diagonal line.
Oh my gosh, that's tough. Okay,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
Tough. So they're all different, what
Yes.
you're trying to accomplish. You might be trying to get a majority in an area where somebody else controls the nest.
Right.
And that's really challenging to do.
Definitely.
But I think it's really cool. These don't have to be played on your piece.
Yes. I know. You can put it on somebody else's so that they're limited in what they can now grow their stack. So you can bump up and get past
Because if you have a really tall one, we should say that the tallest one gets 10 points at the end of the game.
That's true.
So that's a big one too. So this right now is worth 3. But then if I put the roof on the bird topper, then it's worth 4.
Right. But maybe I've been growing something on another side.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want her to get any higher than 4 because I'm going to make this 4 up to a 5. So I'm going to get those 10 points at the end of the game.
Or if you've gotten one that's really tall, you might also choose to move it to the fountain.
That's true.
If you think that you're going to win the tallest one anyway,
right, exactly.
You might as well get a 4 or 6 points or something like that over here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, trying to figure out to take the animals.
You're good at this game.
No,
you won these area majority.
No, you
games.
won these games, most of them. I think.
I
think you won them all, actually. No, I don't think so. But it's really interesting and hard to figure out. Should I go for the animal? Should I?
Well, you definitely want to make sure that your opponent isn't controlling the animals, all of them, because if they are able to manipulate their pieces, your pieces, everybody's pieces a lot more than you by just placing a piece out.
However, though, those animals don't give you many points.
They don't. They do give you 3 points per animal that you control at the end.
Because
last of course
round.
You're not able to use them. For the
because you can't do anything with them because they're used the next round that you get them.
Right, exactly.
And you don't, like I said, you don't have to use the animal.
Right.
But you usually want to.
I really like this game.
Yeah, it's so
when we
fun.
saw it at Essen, we were like, oh, this is great. And that with these cool nests, with these stackable birds and everything like that, just a beautifully produced game that has So I said in the podcast, there's a little bit of meanness here.
Oh, but in a two-player game, it doesn't really. That's what you're expected to do.
Definitely.
So I love this as two-player,
Right,
and having the
Having
bird brain. You would think, how would you use that? Well, you really are going to use that quite a bit.
For sure.
You also get points for whatever pieces were still left in the bag.
Yes, anything that's left in the bag at the end of the round, end of the game, is going to give you 1 point per bird in there as well.
Right.
So we had a really good time with Perch.
Yeah.
It's really well designed, and it's the replayability is huge. Quite a bit because there's a bunch of extra tiles. This is just a little bit,
many different
extra
animals.
creatures.
Yeah,
and
the animals. There's
so you can see how this could be easily expanded. You add new interesting creatures as you're going forward too. So Perch, big thumbs up from us. Before we go, remember, subscribe, thumbs up, okay? And down in the show notes, make sure that you go and check out that list of games. But we've just been talking about Perch by the amazingly named Doug Hettrick from Inside Up Games for 2 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, and 45 to 60 minutes. Really solid game. Check it out. Talk to us. Tell us what you think as you're getting these games. And we love to hear from you. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.